Bryce Young had an illustrious football career before reaching the NFL. A five-star recruit in high school, a Heisman Trophy winner in college, and the first overall pick in the NFL draft, he seemed destined for greatness. But the NFL offers no guarantees, especially when a player lands in a dysfunctional organization. At 22, Young took his first professional snap, and by 23, he was labeled a draft bust. The question remains, is Bryce Young truly incapable of succeeding in the NFL, or is he a victim of his team's failures? The answer could lie somewhere in between. Young's pre-NFL career showcased his undeniable talent. Playing at the legendary Mater Dei High School in Southern California, he posted an astonishing 46-6 record as a starter and threw for 13,250 yards and 152 touchdowns. His performance left no doubt about his potential, earning him the title of the #1 recruit in the 2020 class by 247 Sports. Initially committed to USC, Young decommitted and chose the Alabama Crimson Tide, where he would continue his football journey under the tutelage of Nick Saban. However, his freshman year in 2020 saw him on the bench behind Mac Jones as Alabama won the national championship. In 2021, Young earned the starting job, beating out Paul Tyson and Jalen Milroe, and proceeded to dominate college football. He threw for 4,872 yards and 47 touchdowns, leading Alabama to an SEC championship and the national title game. His stellar play earned him the Heisman Trophy by a landslide, further cementing his status as a future NFL star. Draft analysts quickly took notice. By early 2022, Young was projected as a top pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, and despite his slightly less dominant junior season, he remained the consensus top prospect. Enter the Carolina Panthers, a team desperate to find a franchise quarterback after years of mediocrity. The Panthers had cycled through quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold with little success. Owner David Tepper, tired of losing seasons, fired head coach Matt Rule mid-season and began overhauling the team. Despite showing signs of life under interim head coach Steve Wilks, Carolina's 7-10 record left them with the 9th overall pick in the 2023 draft, a position too low to secure Young. Determined to acquire the top pick, the Panthers traded with the Chicago Bears, sending a massive package including star receiver DJ Moore and multiple draft picks. The deal guaranteed Carolina their choice of quarterback, and they selected Bryce Young, convinced he was the franchise's savior. Young, though undersized at 5'10", was praised for his accuracy, decision-making, and football IQ. His ability to make plays outside the pocket made him an enticing prospect. However, questions lingered about his physical attributes, such as arm strength and durability. Carolina's front office believed Young's mental attributes and precision passing could overcome any physical shortcomings, and they selected him first overall. Tepper declared that Young had the highest probability of winning a Super Bowl among the top quarterbacks in the draft. The team hoped to support him with a strong infrastructure, but that's where things began to unravel. The Panthers' offseason moves aimed to balance Young's development with a competitive roster. They signed running back Miles Sanders, wide receiver Adam Thielen, and tight end Hayden Hurst. While these players had productive careers, none were considered elite. The offensive line, which was expected to be a strength, also struggled. Adding to the chaos, play-calling duties shifted between head coach Frank Reich and offensive coordinator Thomas Brown, creating inconsistency. Despite these challenges, Young was thrust into a starting role and struggled from the outset. In his NFL debut against the Atlanta Falcons, Young showed flashes of potential, but also the growing pains typical of rookie quarterbacks. He threw 2 interceptions, took multiple sacks, and relied heavily on short passes, often targeting Thielen. These issues persisted as the season progressed. With limited weapons and poor offensive line play, Young was under constant pressure. 9 different players started at guard for Carolina during the season, leaving the offensive line in shambles. The team's inability to establish a cohesive offensive identity only compounded the young quarterback's struggles. Through 6 games, Carolina remained winless. In Week 7, Young earned his first NFL victory against the Houston Texans, narrowly outdueling fellow rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud. However, the success was short-lived, and the Panthers dropped their next 4 games, falling to 1-10. During this stretch, the offense failed to score more than 13 points in any game, highlighting the team's struggles to support their quarterback. Tepper, growing increasingly impatient, made another drastic decision. He fired Reich just 11 games into his tenure, marking the 3rd head coach change under Tepper's ownership. Stable organizations rarely operate this way, and Tepper's impulsiveness only added to the dysfunction surrounding Young. The turmoil affected Young's confidence and development. By the end of the season, the Panthers had a dismal 2-15 record, ranking near the bottom of the league in nearly every offensive category. Young's statistics reflected the team's struggles. He finished the season with the worst passer rating among starting quarterbacks and the 2nd most sacks taken. While some of his mistakes were due to inexperience, many stemmed from systemic issues within the organization. Carolina's lack of playmakers, poor offensive line play, and coaching instability made it nearly impossible for Young to succeed. In the offseason, Tepper fired general manager Scott Fitterer and replaced him with Dan Morgan. The team also hired Dave Canales as head coach, hoping his reputation as a quarterback guru could salvage Young's career. Canales had helped revitalize the careers of Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield, but those players were veterans in stable environments, conditions far removed from Carolina's current state. With limited draft capital after the trade for Young, the Panthers struggled to surround their quarterback with top-tier talent. They acquired South Carolina wide receiver Xavier Legette in the late 1st round of the 2024 draft, but the receiving corps remained underwhelming. Young's 2nd season began disastrously. In Week 1 against the New Orleans Saints, he threw an interception on his first pass of the season and struggled to find any rhythm. The Panthers lost 47-10, and Young completed just 13 of 30 passes for 161 yards with 2 interceptions. Week 2 brought another poor performance against the Chargers, as Young threw for only 84 yards and an interception in a 26-3 loss. Following these games, Canales benched Young in favor of veteran Andy Dalton, signaling the organization's waning confidence in their young quarterback. The media quickly labeled Young a bust, and speculation about a potential trade began to swirl. Dalton provided a brief spark, leading the Panthers to a win over the Raiders in Week 3, but the team's overall struggles continued. In Week 5, Young returned to the field in a blowout loss to the Chicago Bears, the team Carolina had traded with to acquire him. The game highlighted the stark contrast between the two franchises, as Chicago appeared poised for future success, while Carolina remained stuck in turmoil. Despite flashes of potential, Young's performance did little to change the perception of his future in Carolina. The Panthers now face a critical crossroads. Young's first 2 seasons have been marred by poor team building, organizational dysfunction, and an inability to provide him with the tools needed for success. Tepper's impatience and frequent changes to the coaching staff have created an unstable environment that hinders player development. While it's too early to definitively label Young a bust, the circumstances surrounding him make it difficult to envision a path to success in Carolina. As the 2024 season progresses, the Panthers must decide how to move forward. Will they continue to invest in Young, hoping stability and better roster moves can unlock his potential, or will they move on from him and admit their mistakes? For Bryce Young, the journey from can't-miss prospect to embattled NFL quarterback has been anything but smooth. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of organizational stability and the challenges of transitioning to the professional level. Whether he ultimately succeeds or becomes another first-round cautionary tale, one thing is clear. Bryce Young's NFL career has been defined as much by his environment as by his talent.